Hello and welcome to your GMan Season 15 Division 4H Matches of the Week recap for Week 2. I'm Lord Sigmund and I'll be going through your games this week. So, here's the matches that happened this week. We'll jump straight in, I think. So first off, we have the Jurassic Sparks, Waxter's Lizardman team versus High Planet Raiders at Logic 8T8's Lizardman team. Bit of an uneventful 0-0 draw for this one, I'm afraid. Both teams failed to get their ball carriers meaningfully past the opposition defence. The Jurassic Sparks induced a wizard and chose to receive, but rolled a perfect defence against themselves. And then nothing really happened till turn 7. They caged up, they moved the cage left and right, trying to get past the High Planet Raiders defence, but didn't manage it, and then out of desperation they sent their ball carrying skink round the side past the High Planet Raiders line, but left it unprotected, and on turn 7 or turn 8 the High Planet Raiders just blitzed the ball carrier and stopped the offence. Oh, it was on turn 7 because then Jurassic Sparks had turn 8 and they could have possibly used their wizard to get the ball carrier and get the ball back and score with it, but they chose to hold on to it for the second half. Then in the second half they used the fireball on turn 11 against the High Planet Raiders ball carrying skink and two other skinks, only to badly hurt one of the non-ball carrying ones, but with no one in range to retrieve the ball anyway, it was possibly a little bit futile. The High Planet Raiders then suffered the same problem that the Jurassic Sparks did, just unable to get past the defensive line. They end up going through the end zone one turn before the end of the game, just like their opponents did in the first half, but end up pinned against the side by two other skinks. Then on turn 16 they fail their dodge to escape, the ball goes off the pitch, flies over the other side, and it ends in a 0-0 draw. I predicted the High Planet Raiders would win because they're the slightly better developed team, but both teams failed to do anything really, and it ended up in a 0-0 draw. Next up we have Ogori's Warriors, Masisali's Orc team versus my Pro Elves, the Bowie Boyos. Bit of a relatively boring game, if I'm completely honest. It was raining and the Elves chose to kick. They spent most of the first half screening until the Orcs failed to go for it, trying to close their cage after repositioning from one side to the other. And the Elves took advantage of that, basing up the remaining sides of the cage and the ball carrier, and waiting for a turnover to happen, which it did, and the Elves managed to take the ball and run it down the pitch to score on turn 8. On their offence, I managed to score on turn 13, killing an Orc Blitzer in the process, who the Apothecary saved. And after that, in response, the Orcs almost score, but fail the second go for it into the end zone on turn 15. It was correct prediction from me, thankfully, so I got the win here, putting me at 2 wins so far, which is great. One thing I do want to point out is I did get very lucky with dice rolls in this game. I had 45 successful dodge rolls, no failures. I'm pretty happy with that one. Next up is Pylon's Highwaymen High Elves versus Thuluklex Warbeast Orc team. Bit one-sided this one, I'm afraid. I predicted the High Elves would do very well and win the game, and they did not prove me wrong. So, 4-0 win. Bit of luck from the High Elves there, but I don't think the Orcs did themselves any favours with a few choices that they made. So, bouncing back from the terrible luck last week from the High Elves, the Orcs induced Varigul Chewer with their 310 team value difference and chose to receive, but the High Elves got a perfect defence straight off the bat. The first mistake from the Orc team, I think, was the first action they did on their first turn was to try and pick the ball up with their thrower without moving any other players to mark the ball, defend it, or anything. So, and then they failed to pick up. That let the Elves just run down the sides, mark up the ball, and end up scoring on turn 2. For the rest of the first half, the Orcs cage up, but barely manage to get the ball past their line of scrimmage, with the High Elves screening very well all the way down. For the second half, the High Elves get a standard Elf 2-turn touchdown on their offence, putting them 2-0 up. And then the Orc response is where I think the second mistake went, the setting up for their drive. Looks something like this. So this is after the Orcs have taken their turn. They basically just blitz the line of scrimmage. Elf players moved a couple of players forwards, as you can see, but they leave a massive gap between the Black Orcs in midfield and the blitzers on the line of scrimmage, and don't move anybody back to protect the ball carrier directly, leaving these Black Orcs, like, if the high Elf players mark them up, they can't do anything to protect. It leaves the ball carrier widely undefended, and that's exactly what happens. The High Elves blitz one of the Black Orcs. They swing round and fill the gap between them, screening off the backfield players from the ones that near the line of scrimmage, completely dividing the Orc team. And there's nothing they can do about it. They end up blitzing the thrower, and they manage to score on turn 13. Unfortunately, the Orcs don't seem to learn from that mistake and set up exactly the same for their next drive as well, letting the Elves to mark the ball carrier on turn 15 and score on turn 16. Another correct prediction from me there, which is great. So the next match was Cranky Goblin's Sewer King Skaven team against Massacre's Emperor's Chosen's human team. Now this one was a great example of a 2-on grind, if that's the sort of thing you like to see. It was a rainy game and the Rats chose to kick, and unfortunately for the humans, their first turn, the Ogre kills himself with a both down result on a block. Thankfully, the Apothecary saved him to no casualty, and the humans have a great first half. They have the ball, they keep it in a cage on the line for 7 turns, punching Rats into the ground as much as possible, before scoring on turn 8, by which time they've achieved 2 casualties and 3 knockouts. Fortunately for them, all the knockouts woke up for the second half, and the Rats had 2 on the bench anyway, so for the second half it was 11 versus 11 again. In the second half, the humans pushed past the Rat line and almost score on turn 11, but failed the second go for it into the end zone, leaving the ball for a gutter runner to pick up. He runs it down the pitch, and they score in 2 more turns on turn 12. With 4 turns left, the humans are unopposed though, when they run the ball down the side to go 2-1 up on turn 15, followed up by a perfect defence roll on the Rats turn 16, scuppering their chance of a 1-turn touchdown from the fast gutter runners they got on this team. A very good example of a 2-on grind from the humans, like I said before, in the face of the movement 10 gutter runners on the Skaven team. An incorrect prediction from me. I thought those gutter runners would do more job, but Massacre did excellent work in shutting them down, making them not as advantageous, and the armour rolls did not go the Rats' way. Lots of skill points for both teams on this one as well. So next matchup is King Kill's Apocalypse of Death Chaos team versus Zoomnig's Ulfragangers, the Norse team. This one was a bit of a bloodbath. So the Norse induced a bomber and a wizard and chose to receive. The bomber they mainly used for fouling. Bit of an odd choice. So the runner picks up the ball and runs it down towards the line of scrimmage, and then on turn 2, after there's a lot of blocking going on the line of scrimmage, bit of a scuffle there, but yeah, the ball carrier, he decides to foul with the ball carrier and promptly gets sent off. Not great. On turn 1, the Norse turn 1, the 11 SPP block Beastman gets a permanent stat injury on there, so they use their Apothecary to save it. and then probably get punished 2 turns later on turn 3 when Adolf Werner kills the one of the Mighty Blow Claw Warriors on the Chaos team. After 4 turns, the Norse have the ball again, but they have removed 6 Chaos players from the pitch, only losing 3 of theirs in return, and 2 of those being sent off. They managed to stall out and score on turn 8. At the start of the second half, a bit of reverse of luck there. A pitch invasion stuns 5 of the Norse players and no Chaos players. And the Chaos have plenty of room to advance down the right hand side of the pitch, marking up anybody that's left standing or left lying on the ground, and giving themselves plenty of room to score. Unfortunately, they go a bit mental and decide to copy what the Norse did in the first half. You can see the ball carrier there. Nobody really in a position to stop him. This Ulf Werner's marked by a Chaos Warrior, but there's nothing stopping the Chaos from advancing down a bit. And with a bit of work, they could easily get a cage near the end zone, stall out for a bit. But they go absolutely mental and use the ball carrier to foul, just like the Norse did. And just like the Norse did, it gets sent off. That leaves the ball free, but nobody's able to take advantage of it. The Norse players trying to get it down, but don't manage to get it out of their half, and they spend the rest of the game beating each other up. The game ends with 4 Norse players on the pitch against 6 Chaos players. This was a correct prediction from me. I thought it would be a problem getting past the block on the Chaos team, on the Norse team for the Chaos, but really it was the Chaos that kind of threw it at the end. Next we've got Gimlick's Swedish Forest Wolf Necromantic team versus Maiden Maniac's Black Creek Buccaneers. Now this was a 2-2 draw, but it's got my pick of game of the week because this was a very fun one to watch. Down in TV, the Necros induced a wizard, but the Dark Elves chose to receive. The first half is mainly advancing, redirecting, but on turn 7 the Elves managed to get their ball carrying runner into the opposing half with a bit of a screen. The Necromantics do surround him and blitz him, but in the first for me, I don't see it very often, the dump off on the runner actually works. It dumps off to a lineman 3 squares away to the side, leaving them still holding the ball. Unfortunately, they do fail dodging away with it on the next turn. There's a wolf manages to mark up that lineman, and the wolf picks the ball and runs it down the pitch. The elves try to respond by hitting it with a lightning bolt, but unfortunately for them, it bounces and is caught by the adjacent flesh golem that's been supporting the werewolf. And the Necromantics take advantage of that. They spend the rest of the half slowly advancing the flesh golem down the pitch, removing every single Dark Elf they can get their hands on off the pitch in the process. By the time they score on turn 8, they've removed 6 elves from the pitch. None of the 4 knockouts wake up for the second half, leaving no opposition for a Necromantic second touchdown in 3 turns. Though on their offence, the 7 elves on the pitch managed to score in another 2 turns, and then with some very lucky dice rolling, for the last drive, 8 elves on the pitch, they managed to steal the ball off the Necromantic team and score on turn 16 to equalise. I incorrectly predicted a Dark Elf win here, and I think they got unlucky with the Flesh Golem catch and their armour rolls. Without that, I think they could have won. Their slick play went down half a team in the second half was great, and I think it bodes well for them. I think that the standings of this team do not really accurately represent the skill or potential it's got. And last but not least, we've got the Patchy Pack Necromantic team, coached by the Lovely Fool, against Michaelis' Chaos Black Nightmares. A 2-1 win to the Necromantics this one. The Necros induced a wizard. Chaos choose to receive, but the Necros got a perfect defense. In the first turn, they badly hurt the Chaos's ball-carrying Beastman, though. The Blodge extra arms ball carrier, as he was left exposed on the line of scrimmage. What starts then is a fight on the line of scrimmage. Nothing really happens until on turn 6 the Necros finally get the ball out and score on turn 8. The Necromantics leave their rookie ball carrier on their drive. They leave their rookie ball carrying ghoul unprotected in the second half, and the Chaos dodge with the Beastman to blitz him and retrieve the ball. The Chaos then go and score on turn 11 instead of stalling it out at all. The only real pressure on the ball is a werewolf that injures itself, removes itself on the pitch from a failed blitz. And with the ball carrying Beastman and a sporting Beastman near the end zone, they could have easily stalled out for a few turns. Instead, they score on turn 11, leaving the Necromantics with the number advantage and 5 turns to score to win, which they proceed to do, outbashing the Chaos in the process. It's a correct prediction from me, but I think the Chaos lost out by not settling for the draw and trying to stall out in the second half. So, out of the 5 non-draw matches we have, I managed to predict 4 of them, which I'm quite happy about. I'm not sure about predicting draws. I like to root for one of the teams over the others, but I might see what I think for the weeks coming up. So, after those matches, we'll have a look at the standings. So, happy for me, I'm on top. I don't think I'm going to be staying there very long. I've got lots of tougher matchups coming up, and Lizard Men I have a terrible record against. I think I'm something like 1-2-11 on Spikebot against Lizard Men. So, not looking forward to those matchups. Closely followed by the 2 Necromantic teams, Swedish Forest Wolves and the Patchy Pack. They both have the same win-draw ratio, but they have slightly better touchdown differences to the 2 Lizard Men team underneath them. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams on 1 win, 1 loss each. And then, like I said before, the Black Creek Buccaneers on 2 draws. I don't think their standings accurately reflect the skill level of that team. I think we're going to see good things from them going forward, so everybody should be a bit scared. And then we've got the Chaos Black Nightmares and the Gory's Warriors and the Wild Beasts, all at 2 losses at the bottom of the table. So if we have a look at the teams and how they're looking after the matches then. So, first up we've got Lovely Fool's Patchy Pack. They got no skill ups this week, but they have lots of players close to skill up. We have 2 SPP from this werewolf, we've got 5 SPP on that one, 5 on that one, and 1 on these 3 zombies, all for skill ups. So I think this one's looking ripe for a bit of expansion, and I think their team value is going to be pretty high once they get a few of those skill ups on there as well. One thing to note is this Squeaky Bone here, this ghoul here. Still a rookie, still no skill points, but has been playing for 7 good games. Perhaps it's time to focus on getting that one a couple of skills. Next we've got Chaos Black Nightmares. No skill ups this week. They finally fired their triple niggled claw block Beastman though. After he got injured this week again, to get minus strength, taking 5 SPP from that game with him. He got one. He was the one that scored their touchdown, and he got a casualty as well. The Black Creek Buccaneers. Their runner got his first skill in dodge, and Mate Hathrin down here, the lineman, picked up dodge to go with the guard that he already had. So some good advancements from them. They're looking good. Standard Dark Elf development though, dodge on everything, wrestle or block after that. Throw in some sidestep and mighty blow as you get it. Some tackles. Nothing really surprising, but they're looking good. They've got Zooming Zulfragangers. No skill ups, no injuries. Nothing really to look at on these. They've got a couple of pending skill ups like this Berserker here and this lineman here. Logic 88's High Barnet Raiders, Lizardmen. No skill ups, no injuries for them either this week, apart from, oh yeah, this Telhets. This skink is out for the next game. Emperor's Chosen, Massacre's Humans. They have a wannabe elf in their team. Detlef Endelbury here, the lineman that already had Agi up, got movement up this week as well. Get block and it'll be a Dark Elf Blitzer. But Star Thrower level Delchasm is out next week, so should be good for their opponent. Then we've got Thuluklex Warbeasts. Spotted Hyena the Blitzer, picked up Mighty Blow to go with his guard. So that's good. Then we've got my team. Not a lot happening here. I've just got a couple of catchers that are very close to levelling up. My match was rainy this week, so I didn't manage to do any vanity passing, unfortunately, on those, or else they would have skilled up this game. But yeah, they're ready to go next game, so hopefully we get some passes on them, get them skilled up, so I can focus my touchdowns on this guy up here. He needs another skill. Then we've got Jurassic Sparks Oaxter's Lizardman team. They got a skill up this week. Mazdaman of Despair got blocked to pick up with his break tackle that he already had after getting the MVP. Got one more touchdown on this skin called Level It Up 2. And one more casualty on this Saurus will get the block as well. We've got Ogoro's Warriors, Massey Sally's Orc team. No skill ups and no injuries on this team this week. Got a Black Orc that's one casualty away from getting block, but I'm not sure they'll want to keep him around niggled. They'll probably do with replacing, especially when it's not got any skills on it. Next, Pylon's Highwayman. No skill ups, no injuries to speak of on this team. We've got one blitzer that's one touchdown and one thrower that's 3 points away from skilling up. And a couple of catchers that are very close as well. Probably want to get wrestle on at least one of those. Cranky Goblins, Sewer Kings even. Skaven team. They got a double on Not Long for This World, who rolled guard. Excellent use there. Unfortunately he's out for the next game. And prophetically there was a lineman here called Dead Rat Walking that died. Rapid Lester, the new gutter runner for this match, got a pass and a touchdown, I do believe. So that's 4 skill points on there. He's ready to level up. Got the Apocalypse of Death. No skill ups this week, and like I mentioned on the team recap, their Mighty Blow Claw Warrior King Conquest the First died, now replaced by King Conquest the Second here. That was bad luck, unfortunately. And finally, Swedish Forest Wolves. Again, no skill ups for this team, and unfortunately they had a guard dodge white that died and failed their regen here in position 8. So, a new feature that we've got coming up here is the Hall of Fame, based on the Spikebot statistics that we've got on here. So we have a look at this. We've got our top scorers. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players with 2 touchdowns each. All looking good. A representative of each of the necromantic teams, as to be expected. They've got a werewolf for both there. And then we've got the Beast 4 from the Apocalypse of Death, who's their blodge, extra arms, bull carrying Beastman here. And then 2 High Elves from the Highwayman team, as well as one of the Gutter Runners from the Sewer Kings. Top blockers, we have the Bloodthirsty 2 Velisa from the Ulfgangers, their Ulfwerner that he likes to blitz with. He's got 26 blocks, followed by a couple of the werewolves from the necromantic teams on 26 and 24 each. Most violent, how many casualties they've inflicted? We've got top of the table is Beast of Bad from the Apocalypse of Death with 5 casualties, and then we've got 4 players with 4 casualties each. We've had 2 serfs so far in the division, one from the High Barnet Rainers, one from the Case Black Nightmares. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 deaths as well, with 2 Velisa from the Ulfwerner from the Ulfgangers in first place with 2 of them. It does leave Beastabad as the most high impact player, having killed one player, inflicted 5 casualties on top of that, and 23 blocks. So he's currently our highest impact player of the division after week 2. With Don't Hurt the Good Boy from the Patchy Pack coming second, and Tuvalisa from the Ulfgangers coming in third. We'll see how this evolves over the coming weeks. So, last but not least, we have next week's matches. And my predictions therein. So first up, we've got the Apocalypse of Death Kinkills Chaos Team versus Illogic 88's High Barnet Raiders. I think the High Barnet Raiders take this one. The Chaos have no tackle and only 3 block on their team. I think it's going to be close though. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up as a draw. Next up, we've got Gimlick Swedish Forest Wolves versus Cranky Goblin Sewer Kings. The Season 14 Div 5k rematch. I think I'm going to vote for the Sewer Kings again. They didn't do very well this week, but the Necromantic team have no tackle players and they were giving up a lot of TV for inducements. Next up, we have the Patchy Pack versus the Highwaymen. Lovely Fools Necromantics versus Pylon's High Elves. I think it's going to be a High Elf win here. Pylon did very well this week, and he got unlucky in the first week. I think he might have a harder time in this matchup though than he did versus the Orcs, but he has some inducements, and I like his play, and I'm biased against Elves. Next up, we've got Michaelis' Chaos Black Nightmares versus Masisali's Agori's Warriors. I think this is going to be an Agori's Warriors win. I think it could be a draw if Michaelis shows more aversion stalling like he did this week. It will probably tilt in the Orcs' favour. The Chaos have a lot of their team value invested in that Minotaur, and I don't think it's proving value for money compared to the rest of the team, so he's giving up inducements as well. Next up, we have Maiden Maniacs Black Creek Buccaneers versus Oaxter's Jurassic Sparks. I think I'm going to vote for the Dark Elves here. Again, biased towards Elves. I personally hate playing against Lizardmen. I've got a terrible record against them, like I think I mentioned before. But after seeing Maiden Maniacs second half this week, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm confident that we're going to see them do better in the weeks to come. Next, we've got me versus Zoomnigs Norse. I'm a bit scared of this one. Those Norse were very violent this week, and I'm not looking forward to facing them. I think I'm going to have to play extremely defensively to stand a chance, but I think it's going to swing in the Norse team's favour. And lastly, but not least, we've got the Massacre's Emperor's Chosen Human team versus Cthulhu Collect's Warbeast Orc team. I think the humans win comfortably here. They played really well this week. He knows his grindy games, and I think Cthulhu Collect might want to work on their defensive setups to avoid being overrun again. So that's my predictions. I think, I hope everybody liked it. I've tried something different this week, and if anybody's got any suggestions or feedback, I'm open to hearing from you. So all that's left to say is good luck in your matches coming up this week. Have good games, everybody.